Welcome to another exciting episode of Value Select Talks with Deepak Bajaj. I'm your host, Deepak. Today we have a distinguished guest, Mr. Manojit Majumdar, Vice President, Lead Global Channel Network and NewGen Software Technologies. Manojit brings a wealth of experience with 34 years in the IT industry, having worked across various geographies, including India and the USA. He has ventured into the business twice, worked with both startup and the global giants, and for the last 11 years, he has been instrumental in setting up a global ecosystem of partners at NewGen. His impressive journey includes role at IBM, a Limca Book of Record entry for organizing the largest software development contest in India, and authorship of best-selling books on Amazon such as Selling is Not Cheating and The Lamb Leading Lions. Manojit has traveled across 40 countries and has a network of partners across 70 countries. Join us as we dive into his fascinating career and insights. Welcome, Manojit.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
So, Manojit, I start with something personal, right?
Right.
Because we have seen your professional endeavors, and I'm pretty much sure I'm not able to capture each and everything. But to start with, we all are very much excited to know you as a person.
So, so as a person, it's like this that I was born in Calcutta and brought up in multiple cities because my father was in Air Force. So we kept moving every 3 years, 4 years from one city to another city. Also then started working first during college times. I used to work, do some participate in some of these sales promotion campaigns. They were tough, but they were also fun and they helped in earning some money. And I also worked in the Delhi Race Club on Sundays. So it helped in improving how do you interact with people and how do you handle different situations, blah, blah. I mean, at that point of time, it was just the money, maybe. But when I look back, I think all that has definitely helped.
So and all these small achievements leads to the person whom you are today.
Correct. True. True.
So Manojit, you have a long career spanning 34 years in the IT industry. Could you share with us some highlights and the key moments that have shaped your professional life?
Sure. First is that I started my career as an IT hardware salesperson. So we used to sell. In those days, it was not that difficult to get a job in 87 when I joined the industry. What was difficult is to sell because you had a lot of small companies which were selling. And they were basically assembling PCs and they were selling IBM compatible personal computers. So I was doing that. And then I think the next move was when I joined Softtech, which was selling system software. So when I moved to Softtech, I suddenly realized that because in India, in late 80s and early 90s, the law which governs to ensure that you don't copy, so your copyright acts and other things were not that strict. So hence copying was random. So when we used to work for Softtech and used to sell compilers and Hindi word processor and kind of things, so so we had to go and sell, keeping in mind that there will be piracy which will be happening, other things which will happen, but you will be selling. That gave us a lot of exposure of traveling all across, managing difficult situations. And the biggest fun was we were just getting into IT. So IT was very new. Most people believe that IT is not something which India needs. And they believe that what will happen once everyone buys one PC each, then there will be no market. So all those kind of fear were there, which I see now, many of those fears when it comes to AI. People keep talking of the similar kind of thing which they used to talk then. So that was the first changing point when I came into the software business. And then the good thing which happened is that I went as a branch manager because there was some crisis. And I went as a branch manager when I was hardly 6-7 years of experience in Mumbai. And I learned one very important thing, that the way you sell in North in Delhi and the way you sell in Mumbai are two different things. So it takes a lot of time to understand that people behave differently. They expect things differently. And then I went to Calcutta for 1 year. It was a completely different experience. People were completely laid back. And if you have a personal rapport, it will move. If you don't have a personal rapport, things will not move. People were not used to doing that much of hard work, but were interested in doing some sincere discussion with you, maybe. So I think this different exposure of working in different cities, in different places definitely helped. And then Softtech, they made us work with big corporates. So we went to all kinds of corporate because no one used to buy system software in those days unless you are really very big or you're government, right? And then I think there's different exposures of working in different places, including running a small training center for SWAM when I worked in Calcutta, helped me learn the different aspects of the IT business, right? So we're selling product, we're selling training, we're selling corporate training and hardware. So I think this helped me really learn a lot. And then obviously the time came when I started working as a national sales head. It was again a different experience, but that time maybe I was too young to understand many things. And so I left that job, started my own, and then again came back to the job. So I think the different work experiences in different places really helped me learn and understand things. And I think that has definitely helped me even in writing my books, because I realized that there are very basic level mistakes which people do because no one tells you that what you should not do. So you keep experimenting on your own and keep making mistakes. Like I personally very strongly believe if in Softtech days I had the same knowledge which I had now, Softtech could have been another Microsoft because it had everything which you need to become a Microsoft. It was the number one in India in product uh, business, and we used to compete with the best in the world, but we used to sell only in India. And we had the best of the products which used to compete technically feature by feature, but we could never become a global player then, right? So I think that's lack of understanding and knowledge maybe, which has helped me do my job better in other jobs.
And I always say the sales is a lonely journey. You are all alone. Either you can make or break the deal by the decision which you are taking at the time alone,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
So I will now focus on your global experience. So you
Right.
have worked in different geographies and with variety of organizations, from
Correct.
startups to the global giants. So
Correct.
how has this diverse experience influenced your approach to business strategy and management, and how you're implementing that?
See, the thing is that, when you start working in different parts of the country, like simple thing, even if you take just in India, in North, people are slightly more aggressive. People also tend to believe more in personal rapport. So if you don't go and sit with the customer and talk and discuss, things do not work. So we used to sell these compilers and all these things. In many places, we never showed a demo. It was more a discussion and showing them, talking to them about what the product can do, and people used to buy that product, right? When I went to Mumbai, the shock was there's not only as the customer said, I will not buy till the time I don't test it, he also said that I will not test it when you are around.
Ah,
Okay,
okay.
so the thing was, I learned the hard way. So first 3 4 months, 5 months, I could not sell at all because the techniques which worked in Delhi so well or in the northern India were not working in West, right? And it took me I think I got my first order after 6 months. Similarly, when I went to East, I realized that the market is so laid back and slow that if you want to sell, you can get upset at times because you're so used to working in Mumbai where things move so fast. You can get upset. But if you get upset, then you can't do business. So you have to hold your nerves, stay calm, and handle things one by one, and then business will happen. So we ultimately ended up doing a lot of business even in the Eastern region. But then it's just that the approach is different. Your chances of getting frustrated is very high. This experience of mine did help us when we try to work in some parts of the world where markets are very laid back and slow. So when you use that experience, that don't get frustrated just because you're not getting business now. So hang on, keep doing your work, keep doing the best which you can do, and you will see slowly things are falling in place. It might take time in some places, but that's okay. It will take time and it will work out slowly. So I think, plus when we started working in different parts of the world, we realized it is very difficult to replicate the same sales model everywhere. So the basics remain same, but you need to still tweak it because the way people behave in different parts is different and just so different at times that what you do maybe in India, you try doing it in Thailand, it doesn't work. What you have learned doing there in Cambodia or Thailand or kind of places, you try doing it in Brazil, it doesn't work. You have a different kind of a problem in Brazil, right? So I realized that in every place, the best thing is don't try doing everything yourself. You cannot do it. You need local partners. You need guys who understand that geography better, and you must respect them for the knowledge base which they bring. So they may not be very good in sales always because your product, you understand it much better. So you have to spend some time with them, teach them, train them, but that helps. So that way, what happens is it works out much better. And the best part which you learn is that you need partners to sell globally. You try doing it on your own, the journey takes too much of time. And there is no defined thing like sometimes we felt, why don't we work with only the successful partners? But a successful partner in a local geography may not be interested in working with you because you are not that successful in that market. So NewGen was a big name in India, not in Brazil, right? So we try to find a partner who will see value in working with us. And we started working with them. So even there are partners who are really good, but not that big, but are interested. So that helped. Similarly, we used to look for partners. We did not go by size of the partner or other things. We went by the fact that does he see value in working with us? Will he run when I'm not around? And will he help me doing more business? And that again, it takes some time to learn and understand this because you generally tend to think, let's go to the big guy and then sign up with him. You might sign up, but nothing will happen. And you might keep waiting for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, and then you get frustrated. So these are some of the things which definitely helps in the global market, that the markets behave differently. The developing market behaves differently. The developed markets behave differently. Like when we went to Australia, we could not even get a partner to talk to. So it was so different than trying to sell in Africa or maybe in Middle East. So in Africa, we had any partner we approached, they were very willing to talk, not in Australia. So we had a different kind of challenge. They wanted to know, what value do I bring in? Why should I talk to you? What is the kind of expense which you will incur? So the most funny question which I first got, which I found funny at that point of time, not anymore, is when someone asks, what is your non-payroll expense in this country?
Wow.
So it is not just that you will travel. First, they say the biggest challenge is that most Indians try to do business in Australia or New Zealand by calling up and sending emails. We are not interested in them. Okay. The second thing which came up is that even if you travel once in a year, once in 6 months, doesn't make sense. I need a local guy with whom I can talk. Right? So I realized there are developed markets, it needs to be handled differently. The developing market needs to be handled differently. The markets which are completely underserved, you can take a chance and you can deal differently. But if you handle properly, you can do big deals. Papua New Guinea, we did a deal of $600,000. So it started with $300,000, became $600,000. And that is possible only when you work in that market and show them value. Right? They have money. So it's just that difficult thing is who has got that money to find out. So in a developed market, out of 10, 8 people have money. In a developing market, maybe 5 of them have money. In an underdeveloped market, maybe only 2 of them have money, and you have to find out who are those 2 guys.
Hunting mode.
Correct. So I think the method differs, the approach differs because the local dynamics differ. And that's what I learned over a period of time by working with different teams, different people, and that's it.
Very well said, and I understand the partner ecosystem because this is totally a different ball game altogether. And
Correct.
working with different people, everyone has their own set of expectation. They also qualify,
Correct.
which is there, and every geography has their own set of protocols which they follow religiously.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Thank you for bringing all these points. It's I realize and I understand the way because I also handle few of the partners in my past career as well.
Okay.
Right. So you mentioned about your entrepreneur journey, right? So as you mentioned, you have ventured into business more than once.
Correct.
And what were the biggest challenges and the rewards of the entrepreneurial endeavors which you have taken, and how did they contribute to your current role at NewGen?
See, what generally happens is that when you're working for someone, there are various things which are happening. You tend to take them for granted. It's only when you go and try to do it on your own and when you're alone, you realize there are certain support systems which existed, they don't exist anymore, but you did not factor them in.
Right.
Okay. So what happens is that, for example, when I'm working for someone, I get my salary every month, irrespective of the fact whether it happens or business happens, does not happen. Someone else is taking that risk, right? Someone else ensures that you have a place to sit, there are admin issues, someone else is handling, there are other banking issues which someone else is handling. Suddenly, now that when you start, everything is on you. It doesn't matter how much you thought you will be able to handle it. Initially, it is too much, especially when you're too young and you don't have that experience and exposure. And like I was slightly more hyperactive. And being hyperactive, the biggest problem which you have is that you get frustrated very fast. You say, why is this not moving? Why these things are not moving? Right? You need to be slightly more laid back, maybe at times, to understand that why things take time and why you need to devote time to actually build these basic things to start working. So we had that as a problem first. Second is, because of that, what happened is that we started doing anything and everything. So we thought, okay, this business is coming, why don't we do this also? So we first started, for example, a placement company by the name LabSoft, and placement was doing okay. But then suddenly we felt, how about doing some marketing sales consultancy? Because someone approached us and said, can you help us in selling? We said, okay, let's do that. Good money. So we went there. Then we had one of the big MNCs actually approached us that saying that we need a small software to be done. Will you be able to do it for us? He said, good money. Let's do some software development. So we started doing some software development. Now, what happens is when you start doing too many things, you're not focused. So you are doing a lot of things, but you're not really making real progress because you cannot hire senior people for everything. You're alone trying to do everything, just trying to hire your entry-level people to do that. And soon you realize that good quality manpower is extremely important. Soon you realize that your people with due experience are needed, because the problem is not that when everything is going fine. The problem is when things are not going fine, who will manage it, right? So we all plan for successful journey. What happens when it starts failing? If you don't have the due experience, you can't handle it. And that's what I learned, but maybe it was too late. And in both the places, I made those basic level of mistakes. And then I suddenly found the job thing offered me such a big money that I said, forget it, let's go there and do it. So that's how this whole thing worked.
No, no, I understand. And the focus and one of my mentor mentioned that Deepak, when you are going for the entrepreneurship, just identify what is your core offering and remain with that, because you have to go deep, not wide. And I think most of the entrepreneurs are making this type of goof up somewhere, which should be avoided.
Yeah,
Thank
because what they don't do, which I also did not do initially, is that they don't think, how will the business come? What are the steps involved in getting that business? How much time will it take? Where all you should go for getting that business? What happens if your plan A fails? So if you have not defined a universe where you will work, if you have not defined the vertical, if you have not defined the size of the customer, what should be your pipeline to get that? How much work you have to do to get to that level? Usually what happens is you don't do all that planning. You are more bothered about the product which you are creating, or maybe the service which you are going to give. You are so happy about it that I have found a very great thing, I'll give a great service. It's fine that you will do a great service, but do people know that you exist? Do people really want to buy it from you, right? Do people know that where are you and what do you do? So it's very difficult to suddenly start improvising. So if you plan these things well in the very beginning, then your life, your journey in an entrepreneurial business will become simpler.
Right. Right. Thank you for sharing that thing. And it's a slippery path, I should say, a very slippery path. And most of the people fail because they misbalance all these parts.
Correct.
So the next point here is, building a global ecosystem. And we all today world is a ecosystem, a global village. We always talk about, right?
Correct.
So at NewGen, you have been setting up this ecosystem of partners, global partners. So what strategies have been employed to successfully build and maintain such an extensive network across 70 countries?
So, what we did is from day one, we decided that what is the backend structure which we will have, which will manage it. So for example, we said we will have a small ecosystem team. We started with a one-man team, now we have a three-man team. Their job is to constantly keep identifying the partners we should sign up with, identify that in which country we can do business and why we can do business, how we can do that business, ensure that the partners are actually working. And if in some places the partners are giving up, then can I have a new set of partners ready for that? What can I do to manage all this ecosystem related issues of doing some events, maybe doing other things to promote the local partner locally, maybe all those things. There is an ecosystem team. So we started with one-man team. Now it is three-man team. It doesn't matter how many partners, how many countries you want to go to, the same team can keep doing it. Okay. Then we created a small team for training, because once you have got the partners in, they need to be trained. So we had a one-man team. Now we have a two-man team, which does continuous training sessions. So we have almost 5 days a week. We have some training or other which is going on. Depending on whatever the partner wants to do, he will do that. We created a small portal. We initially first did a generic portal, which we worked on, and now we have subscribed to a bigger portal. And in that portal, we had put a lot of information which the partners needed, because we were trying to work with customers all across the globe and partners all across the globe. So we said at any point of time, if he needs the information, he should be able to get it. And we started uploading those information in the portal. We then said that if the sales guy has to go and sell, then he needs some test to be given. So we said, how about making it online so that it keeps happening automatically? So we said, sales, let's do some tests. For technical, let's do some tests. So that we said that we need someone who will check it, who will guide them. So we needed a partner support center. Their job was to do the technical part of the work. So they also helped in creating a small lab at the partner's location. So if the partner said, I want to check out how the software will work, we used to set up that lab. And then we used to help them create small solutions. So suppose you want to do retail loan. We said, let's help you create a small framework, right? In 1 week's time, you will have a framework ready which can deliver the basic things, so you know how it will work. Or you want to do accounts payable or anything which you can think of. We used to help the partner doing this work that team used to do. Plus, then we had a pre-sales team. The pre-sales team's job was to help creating proposals, help them understand how to pitch a solution, how to go about solving different customer problems. All this was part of the channel team. So what happened is that we had this team which was working very closely with each other, but were loosely coupled, that they can work independently also. So when we had 5 partners, today we have 350 plus partners, the same team, only we have added 1 person here or 2 persons there, is able to manage it, and we are able to grow the business.
So process setting is the key.
Correct. So setting up, defining the structure, defining how you will go about doing it, defining that what will you teach them, how will you sell, how will you identify your market, how will you then help the partners segregate which vertical they should go after, how they should go about doing that. And then there is a small team which goes to these places, meets these partners and runs with them in the field to help them drive business, right? So some business they will do with the direct sales team. Some which we do experiment, when we do experimentation, then the channel sales team has got a small sales team which does the experimentation. So if you want to do experimentation in Brazil, we had a team which will go and do it. You want to do it in Papua New Guinea. So instead of pushing the sales team, which is not sure he will get business or not, and hence instead of pushing them to do that, this team will do all kinds of experimentations, and that's what we had been doing. And that has really worked well for us.
Definitely, because if the brain is common, then it's easy to implement. You need hands, which is in the form of the partners.
Correct.
Smart hands, not of hands, only smart hands.
True. True.
Right. And nowadays we all are talking about the AI, artificial intelligence, and we have seen that you have completed a course on AI for decision making from Wharton. So
Correct.
how do you see the AI shaping the future of business strategy and decision making, especially in the IT industry?
So, what I did is the course which I did from Wharton was basically AI for decision making. It was meant for non-programmers. So they were not teaching you programming. They were basically telling you teaching you that how, from a management perspective, you should look at AI and how that can help. Now, I realized some of the things they taught there were really very helpful. And so I'll give you an example that where you can use AI. Now you see in Amazon, you see that those things which come, those who bought A also bought B, C, D, right? Now that's AI. It goes, checks, and then gives you that information. Do you know by doing that, Amazon could increase the sales by 30%. Now, similarly, for example, if you want to do decision making, and if you want to, in that, you want to decide that how much revenue maybe you will do. For example, if you're a slightly bigger organization, you want to do it. Now, the suggestion is that if you just go the methods which they use in AI is, one is instead of just going by what one expert tells you, take multiple small teams, take the feedback. There's a method to calculate all of that and put it in a place. The accuracy of these small teams who may not be experts in the field will be much better than one specialist telling you. Now, when you do these things, what will start happening is your projections will be much better. Your fault finding will be much better. So whether you are trying to work in a bank and you want to know whether this guy will pay the loan back or not, what are the chances? It works much better, right? So kind of places, and it can be used in multiple places. It can be used for hiring. It can be used for sales. It can be used for manufacturing. So that course helped me understand broadly that there are multiple places and in multiple phases you can use it. It will keep evolving over a period of time, but what primarily it does and how it helps people grow, it has really helped me understand that. So what happens is that when I go and when we are trying to talk to customers about AI and how NewGen's AI solution can help, because NewGen also bought a AI-based organization a few years back, and we are integrating some of the tools of that in our standard solutions and delivery. It is easier to explain and help them understand that what value does it bring and how does the whole thing work.
Right. No, agree.
But yeah, there's a lot of extra hype in it. So you have to cut that hype out. But there is, in reality also, there is a lot of power and a lot of strength in it.
And nowadays, like, is AI is a friend or is an enemy who is killing the job? What is your perspective on that?
So my perspective, whenever something new comes, we do get scared. Like when first computers came, as I said, we got scared, right? And the feeling was, in Delhi itself, I still remember in 87, 88, when we used to go to sell in Karol Bagh, in Defense Colony, all those offices. And when I started traveling to nearby cities like Lucknow and Kanpur and all, many of the accountants used to hate us because they believed that now they will not be needed. So all those jobs will go. In some of the manufacturing plants in Kanpur, people had a feeling these IT guys have come and we have to ensure they don't enter the office, because once they come and start selling their computer, we all will become jobless. Same thing the banks believe. So there is a lot of hype, many times a negative hype. So I see the similar kind of a challenge in AI thing now. People are saying a lot of things, but I don't think that it will really take away things from you. It will just add things and it will make your life simpler. You should just know that how to make use of it and then do more value add to it so that then you can drive it accordingly.
Very well said, right? So it's a powerful tool. It's a missile, how to use it.
Correct. You should know that and you should use it. And over a period of time, you will learn. I mean, it's not something that you will not learn. And because we have seen too many English movies where they have shown a lot of destruction around AI. So we start thinking in that direction. But I saw the same fear earlier also. And nothing really happened. Nothing bad happened actually because IT came, right? It has actually given us more jobs. It has given us a better life. So I'm sure that even the same thing will happen.
We call it as an enabler. Yeah, and enabler, which can really help the multiple application to take to the next level and fast. Right. And now, other than your professional endeavors, so you are an author as well, right? So as an author myself, I can vouch that the journey is challenging but fulfilling as well also. How was your journey to become a published author, and what motivated you to venture into full of books writing?
So, during COVID time, apart from office time, in otherwise, what happens, you spend 1 hour going, 1 hour coming back and all that. So in COVID time, we had nothing like that. We used to sit at home and do it. We were not even having many guests coming, neither we were going to anyone's place. Even in many times, even we were afraid of going to the shopping malls for that matter. So we had a lot of free time in hand. And that is when I first started writing this book, Lamb Leading Lions. Because the thing was that one thing which we kept discussing. So when we started writing first, initial writing few pages is always easier, but then writing the full thing is difficult. So what I did is I went through a small mentoring session to understand that how should you do it, right? How should you write a book? And that really helped. And then I followed that write down the specifications first, that what all you want to write, then expand one point at a time, then put them in chapters, blah, blah. And that really helped. So it was at times it becomes difficult because, when you're writing something, sometimes you need to write more about it. So you also need to do some research. So I ended up studying a bit more than what I normally do. So I had to go and check what is it that history says, where things went wrong, where things went right. Can I link it? Can I make them go in a way that people find it easy to understand and I can easily explain it? So the journey was, yes, as you rightly said, a bit challenging at times, but it was fun overall.
Well, I totally understand it. And especially, you rightly mentioned that starting is easy, but in between you are mostly sometime, out of the word. What should be
Correct,
the next now?
correct, correct, correct. Correct. And in the second book which I wrote, Selling is Not Cheating, even in IBM, when we used to work for these ISV partners and we used to go and meet them, I realized that many of them had a lot of good products. Many of them developed a lot of good products, but most of them don't succeed. Now, one basic reason which I felt is because they are not able to sell what they have created, right? And when you are not able to sell what you have created, then you obviously cannot survive for long. So one major reason which I felt is that people don't put that kind of emphasis on sales. They don't understand that sales is a serious thing and you need to put in time, money, effort, energy to make this happen, right? Like one of the example is that NewGen is NewGen because obviously it has invested a lot of money, time, effort in building a good sales team all across. So same is true for even for that matter in IBM. When I was worked in IBM, I had a big sales team, worked in a structured manner, worked in a systematic manner, right? Frequent training sessions used to happen. So all that really contributes. But generally, people think sales means get some two guys who will do a lot of blabbering, who talk, whether it is needed or not, and somehow they will sell. This somehow they will sell thing doesn't work. That is one basic thing. And the second thing is, okay, we will get some agent, give him some margin, and he will say, what nonsense person. I mean, it is not really that simple and that easy that you will just get an agent and you will give him some margin and he will help you become a big guy. It doesn't work like that, right? And the final thing which I've noticed is very surprising is some of them have invested a lot of money, have got a lot of people, but without really having a proper defined structure that how will you achieve what you plan to achieve. And hence what has happened is they have spent a lot of money in sales, but they don't have a very good defined structure. So if they all are doing the same thing, trying to achieve the same objective, but maybe if you define them in different teams, it will work better. Maybe you need to have a small team which will work on smaller kind of deals, a team which will work on bigger time value deals. Have two different teams, have three different teams. How does it matter? Maybe you need one, you can make a one-man team or two-man team or three-man team, depending on the money which you have. But you need to give them separate focus once you have started growing. Once in the beginning, maybe you can have a common team, but if you're not giving different focus, then your business will not grow. And I have seen so many organizations who just don't get it. And in the end, what happens is that they either never grow or they just shut down. So my whole idea was, ki boss, maybe a 400 rupees book, some of them will buy and read it and maybe they will learn. And maybe I've spent so much of time doing all this. So maybe that will help them. And in return, I feel happy about it. That okay, someone got something out of it.
No, I can anticipate the real point which you mentioned. So even I started reading your book, but it's not be completed. Otherwise, I will give the feedback. And it's a selling is not cheating book because it's something related with all the salesperson across the world. Because the percentage, commissions and all this thing is really, misused in our lobby, in our
Yeah.
sales. Sales is a spiritual business. I always mention that. But moreover, we are also interested to understand about Lamb leading lines, the book.
Right.
What could be the key takeaways? By the way, the congratulations, it has become the Amazon hot seller. But what are the key takeaways a reader should get from that?
So, Lab Leading Lions was primarily trying to tell that we have everything which we need to become a global giant. So we have a lot of organizations who have all the basic things which you need to become a global giant. but they never become a global giant. They never become a global giant because ultimately at the head, you need a lion to lead. If you hire a lamb to lead the lions, what will happen is even the lions will start behaving like lamb. So this concept of not promoting the right people to the right job, right? Not really having the right person for it because that man questions you twice doesn't matter, because ultimately if you want growth, then you need those kind of people. Maybe you should teach them how to become less intimidating. Maybe put a training session for them that, boss, when you start asking questions, some of the seniors feel offended because your style of asking is not good, or some other people feel offended. So maybe you should not do that. Put them under a training and then let them take them in. When you don't do that, your organization does not grow. So if you see, you will hardly meet a person whom you ask that, do you think in your organization the senior people are the right people, or there are juniors who, or there are people who have not grown up the ladder but had the capability, they did not get promoted? Almost in every organization you will find, yes, there are many of them, right? It is very rare to find an organization when someone will say, no, it is not happening in our organization, everyone is based on merit. So I am saying that if you don't give merit a chance, if the meritorious guys are not going up the ladder, if the guy who is conforming to whatever you are saying, then the challenge which you have is he will also conform to the market demands and pressures, and he will not know how to counter it if needed. And once he does not know that, he cannot lead the team to go and take up that fight. So in Lamb Leading Lions, I've given examples where Indian Army has done the impossible, even pre-British time, during British time, and even the other activities which we have done. Many activities which we have done were simply known as impossible, but Indians have done it. So what that basically means is that we are capable of doing it. Some people say that Indians don't have experience for running huge organizations in India, hence they can't do it. Must we run elections? Just look at the elections which are going on now, right? A billion people voting and everything is getting managed almost flawlessly. So it is not that we don't understand that. Look at Kumbh Mela, which we organize, right? Crores of people who go there, right? And how many people get into serious problem after going there? They learn how to manage it so well. They have set up a city and then they dismantle that city. So the thing is that we have it in us, but somewhere because we do not we do not put the lions in charge, we put the lambs as in charge, things really don't work out. And in the end, we all suffer. So I just try to say that let me put my 2 cents worth feedback in that and try to write a book on it based on the discussions we have done for years together. And then I've tried to write some examples in it and seeing that can it help. And if you read that book, you will realize that it talks about many things, that why people quit and go. It is not always for money people quit and go. I have left 10 or 11 organizations. Now I'm in NewGen for the last 12 years now. So there is a reason why people quit and go. There's a reason why people stick to a job. There's a reason why certain departments do very well. There's a reason why certain sales teams do very well under a given leadership and some don't do. So there is a reason for all this. It is not that suddenly all this is happening. So if you understand that, that book should help you in understanding if you don't understand. And maybe that will help you make some big organizations. So the good thing which I had is in that book, the satisfaction which I got in that book is some very senior leadership guys in some of the places actually called me up and talked to me and discussed. Right. And some of them actually say that I've read this book 4 times because every time I read, I felt, oh, this part I missed last time. So that gives a different kind of a happiness.
True, true. No, it's very, and especially nowadays, the world where we all are talking about young leaders, they should
Right.
know, what are the real challenges, and your learnings definitely and experience will guide them.
Correct.
I will definitely order that as well.
Thank you.
Right. Now, especially for the aspiring professionals, right? So today we are talking about the entrepreneurs, right? Everyone is talking about startup entrepreneurs, right? But in reality, the next generation or these businesses are really struggling, right?
Correct.
So what advice you would like to give it to these struggling entrepreneurs, that how which they can convert their struggling or challenges into the success?
So, according to me, there are a few basic things where people go wrong. First is that, when you do business, the first problem which you have is managing finance. So you either you become too strict and you don't even spend the basic things which you need, or you overspend it because you think everything is necessity. Like even when I ran my business initially, so I felt that everything which you think, well, this is a must, this has to be done. Now, when you start saying this for everything, then the challenge which you have is you're always out of money. If you don't manage your cash flow properly, then your courage to take tough decisions or to do things starts reducing. So the first thing is please manage finance well. That's the first and the most important thing. Second thing is that have a please defined vision, that what you want to do and how do you want to achieve that vision. You must write down the complete story. You must write it down in a piece of paper. That what will you do first, do second, do third. Think of the probable problems you will face and then go about trying to solve that problem. So do it at least on the piece of paper, that all the aspects which you can think of. So it is always good if you can discuss and debate with someone and then write, because you might miss out on some of the things. Then is the obviously having a sales team. I have seen so many businesses where they say that, Manojit, that we will first let my product start selling a bit, then I'll add a sales guy. But that day will never come. Or even if that day comes, it might be too late. So you will never be able to scale up your sales team. If you don't have a sales team which is going out and selling, how do you think the sales will happen? Right? And so you need to have a sales team. You need to skill them. Skilling is another thing which I have seen lacking in most organizations. They don't skill their people regularly. So your guy will go out in the field and sell, whether your partner will go out and sell. Does the partner know how to talk about you properly? Does the sales guy knows how to talk about it properly? Right? If you have not skilled them and if you have not done them on regular basis, it doesn't work. It is a 24/7 job. It is a 365 days job. You have to keep doing it every day, right? Because if you don't do it, especially when you are growing, you will not have enough people who will go and do the right discussion and will help you to sell. So like this, what I've done in my book, I've written one chapter where I've written down 7 things, basic things, which you must follow, right? If you follow them, then your chances of going down reduces drastically.
Right. It's definitely these
And
steps.
obviously, the most important part is buy my book and read it. So one should buy the book. Hello? Hello? Deepak, I think I think we would have crossed the 45 minutes limit, maybe. Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, okay. Then something went wrong with the network. Same with me. Acha, okay. I could only see you. but your face was frozen. Okay, sure, sure, sure. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Don't know what happened. Okay. Yeah, I missed the last statement about that.
So my last statement was that apart from the chapter which has mentioned all these 7 points that what one should follow, I think one should buy the book and read it, and that will really help.
Definitely, definitely. It's all about, you consolidate all your learnings into that, so that
Correct.
definitely help. Right. So, but there's another category also in the world, which we always talk about, the aspiring professionals.
Right.
What advice would you like to give it to aspiring professionals who look to make a mark in the industry?
Okay. So, this point crossed my mind multiple times, and then the second edition of uh, Lamb Leading Lions, which I'm trying to come out with, I'm adding one chapter on why lambs lead lions. So the point is, what happens is that youngsters, when we first start working, if we are good at our job, then we become slightly like that. Okay, I will tell the truth and I'll do it with sincerity. I'll not bow down in front of everyone. Why should I agree to everything which everyone says?
Yeah.
I realize that that approach does not help you grow beyond a point. Okay, so my thing is, one, you should be sincere, you should be hardworking, you should be very clear that you like the job which you have taken. If you forcibly try to do something, then you cannot go beyond a point. Because the moment you try to force yourself to do something, then if you don't like it, then generally it will become visible in the professional world. Because either way, there will be so many issues and so many problems.
Hmm.
So if you don't like it either way, then so obviously you cannot continue with it. But having said that, when you have done everything, all this which you have done, taken care of, and then still, how do you ensure that you go ahead and rise? I think what more important is very important is the art of flattery. One must learn that. It is not that you have to become a big flatterer to rise in your career, but you must know that that's a game which someone else will play if you don't play. So even if you don't play, you should know that, and you should try to understand that conforming to given standards is important. Always trying to be a rebel, trying to prove someone wrong is not a good idea in the professional world. So whether you are in the professional world of service or in politics, or it doesn't matter where you are, it makes sense to understand that you also need to be a good follower. So if you become a good follower, where you actually, so think, for example, that what have you done today or what have you done this month that your boss should feel proud of you? What have you done this month that your boss should think that, yes, I feel motivated because of my juniors? It is not that only the senior person's responsibility is to motivate you. You also should think in that direction. That what is it that I have done which will motivate my manager to really work more, or work more cooperatively with me, or contribute better, right? Because ultimately the success of a leader will depend on how good the followers are.
True.
So till the time you are a follower, please try to be a nice follower. Please try to help your managers do their work properly. Please ensure that they stay motivated. So motivation is whatever you have read in the management books is only the manager motivating people down the line. It doesn't work in real life. You should also do things so that the manager feels motivated. and that will really help you grow faster.
That's a practical learning which is no one mentioned about it very openly. Thank you for bringing that point. But yeah, you cannot escape from this particular skill which has to be
Right.
developed today. And you rightly mentioned whether you are in the world of business, whether it's a politics or the corporate, so, you have to be to develop that skill.
Correct. Correct.
So thank you, Manojit, for sharing your incredible journey and insight with us today. I have to park my questions now because otherwise, this discussion will continue for so long. So in the interest of time, I have to park. But thank you so much. Your experience and learnings and achievements are truly inspiring. And I'm personally gets very motivated because I believe we share the common language of sales,
Correct.
definitely. And I'm
True.
sure our listeners will also gain valuable knowledge from your achievement, from your personal endeavors, and especially the books which you have mentioned, both the
Correct.
books with the purpose. So to yeah, I'm interested to see that the first one as well later, definitely.
Good.
To our audience, big thank you for tuning in to Value Seller Talks with Deepak Bajaj. Until next time, this is Deepak Bajaj signing off. Thank you.
Thank you.